For generations, fans of IndyCar could only dream of stepping into the cockpit and feeling the rush of going wheel to wheel at over 200 miles per hour. Thanks to the latest in sim racing technology, we can get one step closer. Talented, fearless drivers battle it out in virtual race cars to claim supremacy at some of the world's most demanding tracks. This is the RIL, Schaeffer's IndyCar Series, presented by Raceverse.
There's two types of drivers out there. Drivers who know how to protect their investment, and drivers who don't. Car owners who know how to get more miles per gallon, and owners who don't. We're talking people who know their Schaeffer, and people who don't. Which one are you? From cars to trucks to diesel workhorses, whatever you drive, there's a Schaeffer synthetic oil for you. Do you know your Schaeffer? Ask for it at an automotive retailer near you.
Hello and welcome to round number 11 of the Schaeffer's IndyCar Series from Spa de Francorchamps in Belgium here. This is Matt Houston from Raceverse, joined by Gary Godso here in the booth. How's it going, Gary?
The week has been a rough one, but it's finally starting to look on its way up. I got a new wheelbase, so we can start getting involved again. But I'm excited to watch this race. We got a pretty good points battle going on. Last road course of the year before we head to Championship Wednesday next week at Gateway. And we'll see if some people are going to kind of gamble and try to make that last-ditch run at the championship. Otherwise, they might find themselves on the outside looking in next week.
Yeah, let me, we currently, Caleb Bensi just taking provisional pole there. We had Gavin Sanders up there for almost the whole time here, but Caleb just knocking him off there. Let me get this. I got to figure out where I saved it to, Gary. The points. So I will get that pulled up momentarily. Thought I had it, but I did not. There we go. But yeah, we've had a good battle through the season. Dakota DeMade has been our champion, so I've got the standings pulled up finally there. So Dakota in the lead with 384 points. James Watson there in P2, 370 points. Caleb Bensi running in P3. He's been our champion the last two seasons. He's going to need a lot of luck. I think it's actually just about impossible for him to get it unless Dakota has two really, really bad races.
It's going to be very, very tough. You never want to say never, especially with a driver with the skill set of Caleb. Yeah. But some point math starts working against you, and we're almost there. And I believe this does include they have a
drop week,
a drop week. So these points do include a drop week. So there's no, additional math needing to be ran here to make it even closer because of the drop week. He's got himself an 84-point deficit. He'll need a win and a really bad finish for Dakota in like two consecutive races, and it might be a possibility for one. I'm not gonna knock Dakota. I'm just gonna say bad luck happens at inopportune times to folks. So, does bad luck happen twice to Dakota? Probably.
Yeah, I can tell you. I feel like both drivers. I don't know if like anybody can feel secure going into Gateway. That's just kind of the way it is. Gateway can bring a lot of possibilities. Even I know, say like Alex Van de Sant not running here, but he's really good at Gateway. But even him, he wouldn't be surefire, for a win there.
There seems to be this huge vacuum hole between turns 3 and 4 that when a wreck happens there at Gateway, it seems to collect the cars immediately around it and everybody else that's following.
That's right,
And that's kind of how it's been the last couple seasons here in the RIL at when we go to Gateway. It just seems like there's only just a handful of cars every single time just running at the end. So, possibilities exist. Math still exists that Caleb can still make this work. And let's not forget about James. James has been in the right place at the right time pretty much all season long. He might be able to pull he might be the new Tom Sneva and win the championship without winning a single race.
There you go. Or he could win it at Gateway, because he did, they did run the IndyCar at Gateway last season in the Turbo Series. And he took
I got the win there, but he won the series at that race.
He took the championship over there, though. Yeah, that's what I was going for. So we're just ending qualifying, although we're getting another 3 minutes here. Is this... Yeah, I think because this is Spa and we're doing open qualifying, it'll give them, hot laps will count.
Hot laps will count, yeah.
Yeah, so Neil Lusher's still on the track, so is Joseph Desiro. So we'll look at Neil here. But it looks like, okay, Neil's going to pull it off. Looks like Caleb Bensi is going to be our pole sitter. I think let's just go ahead and go through the grid, Gary, because we might have a short run to the start line here. I'm fumbling over my words.
Formation lap, yes.
Yes, formation lap. So Caleb Bensi on the pole. My lap time, I'm not sure if that's accurate.
I got a 156.4.
Yeah, my overlay is saying 157, so that's not correct. Something up with that. You want to go through the grid, Gary?
Sure, we'll go ahead and do it. We got Caleb Bensi, P1 on the pole, provisional pole. Just getting ready to go official here very shortly. 156.4. Gavin Sanders with the Team Velocity Online Racing entry, P2 with 156.7. Michael Haller, who's kind of been in the championship hunt all season long, P3, 157 with the 157.3. Chris Raleigh, our favorite livery on the grid, 157.3. He was the fastest in practice for much of practice. James Watson, given a good showing here, has been getting some tutoring from one of the best that we know runs on this course. He's got a 157.5 in P5. Conor Baldwin, a 158.1 in P6. Getting on here to the next page, if it ever refreshes.
Yeah, all of my information. I'm going to try. You keep going, Gary. Let's see here.
Yeah, my
well, I think it's Libertor will be in P7. Is that correct? Followed by Jasper DeMade in P9. Woodall, P10. Yep. Donchak, P11. Isidro, P12. We think Isidro, who was the other driver getting an EOL? I think Isidro is getting an EOL.
Definitely Isidro. He did not take the EOL last week at Fontana, which probably would have been an easier EOL for him to recover from.
Yeah.
He's going to be taking the EOL here, and he's got a long way to go in order to recover that lost track spots there.
So the other drivers were Hayden Herman in 13th, Simkowski 14th, Kresge 15th, Mundell 16th. Neil Lusher going to be our slowest of cars qualifying, was Lusher, and then Angelo Espo and Joseph Desiro not going to take any qualifying time, as things are going to tick over here. But I think, let's see, I want to just check something here. I think my qualifying will be accurate now. Nope, it's still inaccurate. I don't know what's up with that, but we're setting up for, what are we running? 35 laps here tonight from the circuit here in Spa, Belgium. Not a IndyCar course by any means, but between all the leagues that we've covered, Gary, I think even VOR is running this track this season. We've got a lot of IndyCars
coming up here, I think, this week, as a matter of fact. So. IndyCars do not run here, but those that like to schedule in leagues like to schedule the IndyCars to come here. So it is a track unlike any other really in the world, with its elevation changes, and it's kind of a drive through the country a little bit. Think of Road America, but more rustic, I would guess. So that's another reason why I like to see it on a lot of schedules is there's some technical parts, and then there's some wide open parts here. So it kind of caters to all types of drivers.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. It is a favorite of all of the drivers, I think, too, just because it's been on that Formula One schedule. It's got the iconic corner well, kind of, I don't even know if I want to call it a corner in Eau Rouge. It's just kind of almost a straightaway at times, but it is certainly a unique characteristic. Onto the Kemmel Straight they go, and big passing point, big drafting point. Caleb Bensey's going to take him down. Porsche pace car going to duck in. And we have our green flag here.
Yeah, there's still guys going through, and there's a piece of car. Someone's car came off somewhere, but they were taking the green even before cars were through the last chicane.
It might have been Libertor, but I'm not 100% sure. I think it is, but no, it's the guy ahead of him. It's Conor Baldwin. He's going to go through the Eau Rouge section, not going to appreciate not having that front wing. He straight lines it. James Watson gets around him in P5. There goes Libertor in P7 inside. But Caleb Bensey is going to be at the front here. Gavin Sanders in P2. Different looking livery there for Gavin Sanders. I like it.
That's a kind of a car livery he used for a couple races, I think last season. Most notably, I remember him driving that when he tried to punch a hole in the wall at Texas.
Yeah, I do remember that now that you say that.
He doesn't like me reminding him of that, but it was sponsored by Sanders Demolition.
And is that the one, there were several big crashes in that race, but was that the one where Dakota just missed it, or was he involved in it?
I think he got Dakota on the rebound.
Yeah, I think you're right. I seem to remember that one. Speaking of Dakota,
James Watson in a new livery there, kind of caught me off guard as I looked up. I'm not sure who that is, and I checked timing and scoring. I was like, oh, okay. So he's got himself in the P4, and he's looking pretty good.
Looped it at the back here, keeps it off of the barriers though. But let me talk about James Watson's livery. Do you know anything about this one, Gary?
No, this is news to me. It looks like a Voltic pistol inside.
There you go. It is a Voltic pistol yellow livery. So we've got several drivers that run the Voltic pistol livery. Obviously, this is Dakota DeMade's game that he made available on Steam. It is on sale right now on Steam. You can pick up for $2.50 a Voltic pistol. But I've driven the red version. Caleb ran the green. Dakota runs the blue. Jake Odell runs the purple. Yeah. So I think that's all of the Voltic pistol colors. So enough of that, though.
You got to watch that green one,
though. Gavin right in the slipstream down the Kemmel Straight here. Not going to make any move there. Some cow.
So are we just looking at one stop?
I think we're looking two.
Okay, I'm not unsure what the mileage is here.
We're running a little bit more. I think so. I can tell you, FIS ran 125 miles and it was 29 laps. So we're running whatever. I think we're running about a 150 mile race here. I think we're solid two stops. The really interesting thing is that these tires are going to go off big time during this race. So these drivers almost are just going to have to baby these tires around. That's why you see all these cars, like literally everybody other than Albie, where did he start? Because I think he's dropped back.
He's minus 10 spots. He had a bit of a difficulty, and Desidero is also with the alts. But yeah, you're right. Yeah. Everybody is on the primes.
That's right. I think it was the recommended tire. Everybody that practiced it realized those red tires were going to last 4 or 5 laps before they got really, really icy underneath the drivers. So that was the recommended.
So do you think they'll save those for the last stint or something? Or?
Yeah, whatever they can make the shortest stint. We'll see what they can do, though. It still would be the fastest tire ultimately on a lap. But this is going to be interesting to see what strategy choices they make. Because they're almost forced to run all the way, whatever 3 stints of 35 laps would be. That'd be like what? Quick math here. It's like 13, 12. Am I doing that correctly? I don't think I am. But yeah, it's they're gonna have to stretch whatever tire they're on, like unless they're gonna make it a 3-stopper.
So yeah, 35 divided by, I went and did it by 3, so it's 11.6 repeating.
Okay, so basically 12, 12, 12, 12, 11.
Yeah, yep.
So maybe they can get to 13 and make it 13, 13, and do that, and then make it a shorter
10 or something on the last one, yeah.
But I can tell you this is the same setup that they ran over in the Formula Indy series, and on that 5th lap, it was just on the red tire.
Hang on.
It was.
Hang on. Yeah.
It was a cliff, and we saw that in that race.
Just to remind folks, if you don't watch race first coverage of Formula Indy series, I called that race last season, and the biggest problem by far was cars at that final chicane coming back on the power with those worn tires. A number of loops done there by virtually half the field for the most part. Caused a number of moments. I think there was like a moment that a car had to cut the chicane right in front of the leaders, as a matter of fact. So yeah, there was some as the race went on. We'll pay attention to this chicane because the chicane, I think, is where we're going to have a lot of action.
And I'm not 100% sure, but I'm remembering that somebody was saying in maybe the Indy chat that, hey, do these tires really fall off? So everybody knows kind of going into this one. And I know our admins also communicated to everybody that, black tires is probably the way to go. So keeping an eye on Holler there in P3, he was our winner back at Dover. Gambled last week, did not work out for him, but he's right in that slipstream. These top 3 have checked out from James Watson.
Yeah.
6 seconds. Watson's kind of in his own territory, no man's land. Libertor, who is quite a regular in the series, running back in 5th. He's about 2.5 seconds back from Watson. So some of these drivers that have experience with this setup is Bensy, Sanders, Jasper, DeMade, Donchak would have as well, and actually Lusher as well would have a little bit experience here. I think Lusher just
would Herman as well, maybe?
Yeah, he was just telling me though that he just bought this track, so I think.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
He participated in the league, but yeah, he must not have participated in this race.
I think we just had a crash from Lusher, so I'm getting a replay of this. He's on the Kemmel Straight because I just saw he towed.
And showing Albee in the pit, so Albee is.
Albee went off too.
He might be done.
Albee went off at the end. Oh, and Lusher. This was 2 single car crashes at the end of the Kemmel Straight. And this was
unrelated, but
unrelated, but actually they did come together. Albee was at the end of that straight, and then Lusher went off in the grass, and they met each other in the grass. Tough break for both Lusher. We do have faster pairs here, though. Baldwin also having early pit.
So some of those guys that have been having bad races was allowed Desidro, who had to do an EOL. He's up 4. He's moved up to 15th from his start in 19th. And he is up, besides him, Kyle Mundell, who is in. When I first saw him, I'm like, hey, it's Craig Forsyth. But no, it's another Canadian driving the player's car. Here that jumped in one of our leagues here. This, I believe, is his first race in this series, and he's jumped up 5 from his start. He's currently 11th. He started 5 spots better or behind there, and he is the fastest climber of the race. Simkowski up 4, Isidro up 3, Jasper up 3. But right now, your top 3 are pretty much staying where they started. Although Haller is starting to lose touch with top 2.
I was just mentioning, I think Haller had a bobble, but at the same time, Sanders is right on about 0.3 back from Caleb. So this battle is going to continue. So going back to the setup and the tires here, there really is not much you can do with these setups. And there's an update coming down from iRacing that will try to improve the heat. Basically, the heat of these tires on these long straightaways is torture on the tires, and any long straightaway just heats
Were
up
you
the
having
tires.
the same problem when Formula Indy visited Monza as well?
I will say it wasn't quite as bad, but certainly it didn't feel that great. Yeah, I do think that it was kind of a primary tire race was the preferred strategy, but some of the the leader was making both tires work yesterday in that race. With that said, Holler kind of getting right back in touch here with these top three. He's right in that slipstream. He's gonna
Each one there's about an equidistance deficit between first and second and third. There's about anywhere from a third to a 0.4 of a second between each one, especially down the straight.
Looking, DeMade looking outside on Libertor. And Isidro's actually caught up to all this as well. Have to imagine that Dakota's just going to try to play this smart. He is their championship leader. He's been there pretty much all season. I think he has been the whole season.
Who was supposed to have the EOL? It was Isidro, not Disidro, right?
Yeah, Isidro had the EOL. Not sure if he used it.
Then he did not do an EOL, I don't think.
Okay.
If he's up to fourth, or he's up eighth, he's up 4.
Yeah.
That means he would have to start. No, I don't think he took an EOL again.
We've got some pretty slow cars back here, though. I see.
I don't know.
205s. That's pretty off speed back there. So
Maybe I don't want to.
Yeah.
Give a verdict on it.
Yeah, we're just broadcasters here, Gary. What I was about to say, though, so going back to qualify, I'm looking at DeMay trying to get around Libertor here, though. But our lap speeds are like 3 seconds. Whoa, Sidro's going inside of DeMay. Oh, and Libertor locks it up. We've seen that before. Into the final chicane. He locks up his rears, stuffs it into the barrier.
No, Isidro did start shotgun as he should, so
okay.
That is skill right there, sir. That is skill.
I think that these drivers from about 10th on are just struggling with these tires. Dakota goes really wide.
Dakota real wide, and that's going to open the door for Lusher. Nope, but opens the door for Isidro.
Lusher is a lap down.
Great job by Isidro. I mean, he is officially up 6, but really he's up like 13.
I think that Dakota is just letting Neil go by.
Well, there's nothing wrong with getting
rush.
past.
It's a lap car. It's not for a position. Dakota just needs to have what they call championship drive. So he needs to score as many points as he can. He has got Caleb, who's third in points, leading the race. He got the pole. He's going to be going for the most laps led, and ultimately try to win this thing.
Angelo Espo in the pits, as well as Jonathan Libertor.
Yeah, Libertor had to tow. That car doesn't look correct, but he might have a fast repair. So Christopher Kresge actually drove over in that Formula Indy race. It was his first I'll cut away from that because it looked like Gavin. It's not going to happen, but he was right on Caleb right there. But Kresge had a pretty good race yesterday at the Italian Grand Prix. It was his first road course start in Formula Indy series. He previously only started in the our Indianapolis race, and then he'll probably be doing Auto Club here in a few weeks for our Seoul Oval event.
Auto Club looking fun. Got a lot of people that put in their choices for liveries.
Yeah, you're gonna have to put a list. It
would be cool. I think someone said it would be cool if we ran the DW12s because that's kind of the era that we're modeling. But old tire model and a bunch of other things that we don't want to put up with. Yeah. So Still, it will be fun to see the cars in an older paint, kind of a heyday back into that. I mean, we're only talking, it's not quite 10 years ago, but it's about how long that period was. DeCiro is on push to pass. He's got 6, down to 6 now. Your leaders all have 10, 10, 9, 9.
Yeah, Holler used
Watson,
one.
and looks like Jasper has been using them up a little bit. He's down to 7.
Yeah, so in that race yesterday at Monza, people really didn't use them all that much. Our winner, Nate Schaeffer, was the one who won, Gary. He said it near the end of the race, and maybe the last 5 laps, he used 4 in one lap one time. Because I think with the draft, you really didn't need to use them at Monza. So.
Yeah, and it's also, we this one, another series that we participated in before went to Le Mans with IndyCar. The straights are so long that your 20 seconds actually expires
exactly
while you're on the push to pass. So yeah, it's something you typically don't see anywhere else. I believe you'll see it also at Monza, and then also you might see it here. I doubt
a little bit here, but not quite as much. It's probably exactly the amount of time that Kemmel straight is.
Well, it looks like the top 3 have kind of recollected each other a little bit.
Have.
Gavin's definitely a lot closer now. I think these tires, even though they're the primes, have kind of gone off, putting it mildly and friendly.
Yeah, so Caleb's best lap was a 58.99. His last lap was a 59.7.
Now Holler with the purple 158.9.
Yeah, he's got that nice draft on this straight, and all the other straights. He's getting that awesome toe. As Gavin, I think he doesn't want to lead.
It looked like he had a shot to make a run there and kind of pull out. And I if I didn't know better, he backed off a little bit.
Either that, or he's just trying to be the nice guy and know that Caleb is in that championship battle, and he doesn't want to be the guy, right?
Yeah, you're not right.
Yeah. He's had some experience recently of being the victim of the guy.
Of that guy, yeah.
And the Holler drops back just a little bit, not like too bad, but you can just tell there's like 1 car length between Gavin and Caleb here. But
yeah, you want to give yourself. I'm no road course ace, but you want to give yourself a little room just in case something does happen where the top 2 collect themselves, so you can work your way around and not be the third party involved.
Yeah, that actually reminds me of another incident that we had over at Watkins Glen with Julian. Remember, where there was no room between any of those cars? Julian bobbled, and then it took out 3 or 4 cars who were nose to tail. And Gavin looking outside.
Gavin on the outside, in the braking zone on the outside at the chicane. So he's gonna have the preferred position as we come back out of the chicane. And now it's a drag race down the 1.
And now Caleb kind of has the preferred line into turn 1.
Gavin's on push to pass.
And Caleb maintains it, but I saw he got a little bit squirrely coming out of turn 1. You know, these tires are off at this point.
Yeah, and they're probably looking, pit window opens like here next lap or so.
Yeah.
So
I have to imagine they want to go as late as possible.
Here he goes, outside this time. I think he's going to pull it off without
I think so.
Well, no, they're still side by side coming in the top of the hill.
Oh boy, heavy on the brakes is Caleb. They are totally leaving each other a lot of, they're being very gentlemanly with the room that they're giving. At the same time, Holler's back there in third. He's looking to stick his nose in there as well.
It's not often on a road course race you see the action at the front with being 3 cars.
Yeah.
Almost like, 2, but now we got 3 cars. The battle's here. Normally we're flipping through
battle.
This is the battle. Normally we're flipping through trying to find the closest battle on the racetrack for you. Yeah. This is it right here at the front.
do have to be really careful not to drop a tire. You can see them going really wide in some of these corners.
Yep.
So they did, iRacing did update this track at some point in time in the last, say, 6 months or so, where a lot of these little minor off tracks used to give you an incident point. It no longer does that, though, so it's a little bit more friendly than it used to be.
Yeah, the off track count's a lot lower.
Here we go.
Well, there is a driver that has a count of 16 right now, but most everyone else is under double digits. But yeah, we've seen races before where people are by this point in time well up there and OT numbers.
Yes. Yeah, some particular leagues opt for no incident points on these kind of tracks, and you can get them up to 100 or so at times. Coda's the big one that you can really.
Oh, Coda's awful. I hate that place.
Yeah.
Don't put it on the VOR schedule coming up next season.
I have heard things.
No. I don't know. No trolls.
Hopefully, if they do, they just update at some point with, kind of what they did here at Spa. What I'll say is I have not driven it with the new tire model. When we drove it back in another series, it was the old tire model. So I have a feeling, I think that the low grip corners, there's some really slow corners at Coda, and I think those will be better than they were with the old tire model. So I think there's hope.
I just found it was just very unremarkable in terms of landmarks that you could find to use as a braking marker and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there.
You're going down the straightaway, and then all of a sudden the road just goes left. You're like, where is the warning and everything? Again, I'm no road course ace, and I require a little bit more help than the average guy, but yeah, not one of my more favorite places. So yeah, we got lap 11. The window, I would imagine, is open here. Everybody down the 13th spot has stopped for one reason or another. Not scheduled stops, but they've stopped, so that at least counts as one. Those guys probably are definitely for sure on a 3-stop schedule.
Yeah, that puts them on a 3-stopper. It was the same thing at Monza yesterday. It's like if you pit earlier than lap 12, you were forced to have a pit stop. If you took damage,
here comes Gavin, and
he's off.
Slow down. Holler spins out.
Oh, did he?
So we have a whole bunch of stuff that just happened there. That was I think a little and Holler's now into the grips of James Watson. I think what we had there is a little defensive. I'm sure that Gavin saw or heard the lockup and was trying to give a little extra room and had to do the runoff there. Otherwise, collect himself with the.
I'm going to get a
Caleb
replay
there.
of this.
And now Caleb has a big lead.
Yes, he does.
Second and a half.
So I'm going to go slow-mo on this. Just a puff. I don't know if they'd have been able to make it through there. And then Holler just kind of sees the smoke and sees Gavin go off. And that was actually a little bit odd place for Holler to go off. You usually go the direction that Gavin was. But yeah, we're back to live pictures.
Yeah, I think Holler's situation is that he got off the gas rather quickly and onto the brakes probably a lot harder than he wants to, and that just unloads the car.
Yeah, and plus the grip on these tires.
Oh, these tires are just trapped right now.
Yeah.
And I would imagine these guys are probably looking at a pit stop this time, especially after locking them up there.
Literally everybody in the field is at a 2-minute lap right now. So we're 4 seconds off what the whole lap was. So what we're going to see is if anybody switches to red tires, they're going to be fast for like 2 laps. And then it's going to slowly trail off from there. I think this is the fastest lap with full fuel and red tires, but
that you might want to set that later in the race then. But I think strategically going to the alts is not the way to go. Yeah. Right now, everybody from about 14th on back are on the alts. Everyone 14th and forward are on primes.
With that said, if you're Watson, maybe you gamble and you take the reds, but it's a gamble for him.
He's in a position where he might be able to get, and here come the leaders, and Gavin's going to stay out.
Here's our strategy difference here. So Gavin's going to get that lap lead. Holler also takes the pits. Watson's going to stay out. Isidro into the pit lane. So is Jasper. Does DeMade? DeMade is in the pits.
And Gavin's all by himself. He is almost 7 seconds clear of Watson. As he comes into the end of the Kemmel Straight, you look at the other end, and there comes Watson as he just appears on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I was Watson, I got nothing to lose really at this point. At this point in the season, a gamble might not be a bad idea.
Caleb out of the pits. He immediately went to push to pass, try to make up time, make sure that Gavin doesn't do an overcut. With that said, Caleb is back on the black tires, so he's doing what you said, Gary. He's going to take that final stint. That's going to be the red tire stint. Holler, however, is this accurate? Yeah,
Holler is on the alt. He's going to get him out of the way early.
He's not in this championship battle. He just wants to win. And
he might want to make a short stint of it if he's still going to have to do a second stop or do a third stop. So
it's worth a gamble to try something,
Dakota inching up from where he started. He's down 8th.
And so Dakota, Jasper, they pit. They opted for sticking with the black tires.
Here is Gavin. He is hitting pit road right now.
So here's where we're going to see what. As I saw, he really. It's really, you could almost hit that wall as going.
Yeah, it is tight quarters in there. And it kind of reminds me of pit in at Birmingham.
Yes. I think we had another league where maybe the leader hit that wall. Something like that.
I think it might have been him in one of those.
Yeah, you're right.
It was. I think it was him and Alex Vanessant. Yeah. So here comes Caleb. He is through the chicane. He is on the pit straight right now.
Watson was also in too. Looks like
heading to turn 1.
Gavin. He's going to come out, but Gavin is on the black tire. So Caleb maintains the lead. In fact, is going to build on that lead. It's about a
slight advantage. It's not a huge one, but a slight one.
But it is enough to be out of the draft.
Yeah, it is. It's 1.8, almost 2 seconds. So 1.5 is about the envelope size of the draft for these things. So he is just about 3/10 outside of that.
One thing I'm surprised from Gavin here is he did not use a push to pass on pit exit. So Caleb had. That's going to give you probably 3/10 there on your outlap. So that could be that 1.8 seconds.
It does impact your fuel mileage, though, and I'm wondering if maybe he's calculated that, or
Caleb coming up on, I would say probably the first lap traffic of the day. Kresge.
Ooh.
Not ideal situation here. Kresge goes off. Yeah, that was a kind of bad timing on that whole thing. That just
that was really bad timing.
Yeah. Thought Kresge was going to get out of the way.
It did not. Again, Sanders did not gain a lot of time through that exchange right there. In fact, he's now 2 seconds behind.
Holler now catching Kresge as well. So here's what's going to be interesting once we start getting Holler on these red tires. First of the real leaders to be on these red tires. And we're going to see what kind of lap time he can do. Exactly. This one might be... No, his last one should have been the slower one. Okay, yeah.
Oh, so 1:58.935. That's purple.
That is the fastest lap of the race, right? That's faster than...
Yep. Yeah, he just went... that was faster than his previous purple lap. So, he's on
push to pass. Right, so... Well, let's go on board. We haven't been doing any onboard stuff with anybody, so let's go on board with Holler here. We did have a fan of Libertor in the chat rooting him on, but unfortunately he's back in 16th. He is still running, though, but he had that incident.
just keep persisting. There's still we're not even halfway. A lot of other things can happen to other drivers, and a 16th spot on the grid or in the standings can easily turn into top 12, top 10 if a couple people in front of them have some fortunate events. So just keep going.
Well, I want to see what Huller's next lap is going to be. As with that said, Sanders has pulled into Caleb's lead just slightly. It was 1.8. It's now 1.3, so he's getting into that drafting range.
Holler on push to pass right now.
Yeah, he's just got to make up a bunch of ground to get back into a draft kind of situation.
He only has 5 pushes left, and he's halfway through them, and it's not quite halfway through the race. So you're going to probably try to save a couple for the end here. But let's see what his time comes up to this time around. Caleb with the 159.5, 158.4 for Gavin.
Just did the fastest lap of the race.
And a 158.488. So 478 for Gavin, 488 for Holler.
There we go. Yeah. So, but I think Gavin really helped by he was like kind of in the ideal zone for getting that draft.
Yeah, draft.
At that 1.5 seconds, you get that really good draft. As he's getting closer now, he's going to start getting understeer in these corners, and I doubt this lap will be as fast.
So when we talk about the draft and how it impacts time, if anybody's here watching knows how to do overlays or someone that I can talk to about developing an overlay for specifically for IndyCar, I always want to know, especially when we're on ovals, the no-toe speeds. Mm-hmm. And I would love for someone that makes these overlays to give us some option where we could determine and sort the no-toe speeds, because those would be really, really helpful. Sometimes in some of those oval races, or even some of these longer road courses that have really long straights, you're like, wow, that guy just had a great lap. And then you look, well, half the lap he was getting the air cut in front of him by another car, and so he just happens to be riding fat and happy in the draft somewhere. I'd love to be able to filter an overlay report to say, okay, that person was in a draft and that doesn't count.
With that said, Gavin is all over Caleb. Not to cut you off there, Gary.
He is there. He is there, man. All
over him. I think he's got. It's almost like you hear this in real life. It's not a thing here, but you hear like, I got a bad set of tires. Oh boy, yeah.
He's on the outside. He pulled that off all by himself, not even in the braking zone.
Yeah, that was he was ready to go. But yeah, he was just going for it. But yeah, I was going to say that it was almost like, you occasionally hear in real life, I got a bad set of tires. It's almost like Caleb's got a bad set of tires here. Because he just really hasn't quite been on it after that round of pit
the
stop.
Random tire generator.
Yeah, I don't think that's a thing here in the virtual.
No, it's not.
By the way, the fan comment about Libertor is that he still believes. So look at Libertor here. He's hanging out back here.
He's moved up a
position. He has moved up
a spot since we reported on him last. He's up to 15th, so top 15 finish.
There you go. Yep.
Gavin away by a half second.
Caleb, this is the first time he's going to be encountering the dirty air that Gavin had the whole time here. See how he handles it. He had a little bit of an off. That might have been a 1X there. Holder is catching this group as well. But I have to imagine
down to it was 5 seconds for a while. It's got down to 4.5, 4.4.
But I have to imagine his tires are about to start going off too. With that said, he's going to have the black tires to the end, though. So that
he's 4 laps into his stint with the alts, and that's where you said that they pretty much go from okay to crap. So
yeah. It might not be in the lap times as much as it is just in the car control. They might be equal with the black tires in that respect in terms of speed. Oh, Gavin a little bit wide.
Wide there in the chicane there a little
that
bit.
puts
Breaking
Caleb
long.
a little bit. Didn't do too much. Well, it gained him about 4/10, but he'll probably still be able to do the lap times that the black tires are doing, but the amount of work that you have to do to maintain those, like the amount of slipping and sliding that your car is doing, you feel like you're constantly about to wreck. That's the part that the red tires will have there once they've gone off. So Caleb is in that slipstream now.
Yeah, he is. He's right there, and he gains a little bit, and then he loses it. I don't know. He's losing it in the more technical portions.
Yeah, I think it's that Gavin had a little bit better handle on the car in the dirty air, and that's when Caleb's behind Gavin. He's having the issues here.
Yeah, if iRacing do bring out a legit older version of the IndyCar, kind of like how they did with the stock car 87, so to speak. Where that would be cool. That actually back then IndyCar, even for ovals, had compound choice that you could change during the race.
I can see Espo's time has dropped about a second, or sorry, not Espo. Holer's time has dropped back a second. So I think he's hit the cliff.
The tires are done.
Yeah.
Well, he's got 2 seconds on Watson, 2.5 on Watson.
Yeah, so...
Am I reading that right?
No, it's 7 seconds.
Yeah, 7 seconds. So
yeah.
He's really not in a position where he's gonna. He can get a little squirrely coming out of that screen right now. Good catch. Under power. He's in a position where he kind of doesn't really have much to lose right now. Just kind of stick with it.
Going on board with Caleb, we're going to go through Eau Rouge here.
Cafe at the top of the hill there. Not too far from where the U.S. Army fought the Battle of the Bulge in World War II.
Yeah. And Julian's going to be here this weekend for the Formula One race.
That's cool.
I don't know if you guys talked about it or anything, but Julian had a pretty good race last night. He missed qualifying or something, and he started 32nd in that Formula Indy race, and he ended up finishing, I think, 6th. So, heck of a run through the field there.
Good run. Good run. Good run for the team, yeah.
Yeah, Caleb just dropping back here, though, from Gavin. Gavin having some lap traffic up there. I think that is Conor Baldwin?
That's Libertor.
Oh, okay. It's Baldwin, Libertor going back. So the second lap down here? Yeah, it would be. He's already a lap down, so. He's pit. He's off strategy on his pit. But he'll have to pit another time till the end here. He had that incident that made him have to pit early, so it forced him onto the 3-stopper. Oh, and he locked it up.
We're in front of the leaders. Yeah, kind of almost what happened. Almost kind of what happened a little bit in the Formula Indy race here. Almost the same thing.
Yep.
Of course, we're dealing with the same setup and tires. So
there's been a couple changes on that setup. They couldn't go as aggressive on the rear bar that they could have at the Formula Indy one. We removed that ability. We don't want anybody messing with the rear bar and making the tires burn quicker than they would have otherwise.
So last stint, 13 laps for Sanders, 13 laps for Watson, 13 laps for Donchek, and I want to say, let's see, there's one other one I saw with 13 laps. Conor Baldwin with 13 laps in that first stint. So those guys are playing the longer stints, so they can just be on the reds for that just much shorter amount of time in that last one.
Look at Haller in P3, his last lap. 2:09. That is these red
those
tires.
tires are done.
Yeah.
You might want to think about just pitting now. I mean, it'd be 7 laps.
What do we think we could do? Maybe 14 laps at most?
So maybe he just needs to hang on for another 4 or 5 laps or something, yeah.
We had some supporters of Caleb Bensey in the chat here today.
Is it the fam?
Say that again? Yes, it is the family.
Fam, all right.
Yeah, there you go. We can give a shout out, Fawn and Fanny, on this race first car in Stowe, Ohio. One of the sponsors from the Formula Indy Series, the inaugural race over there that you called. Kind of craft homemade body care there in Stowe, Ohio.
It's like if you got an itching to be a mad scientist, there you go. It's like I saw people just sit there mixing stuff left and right, and it's like,
yeah, it's
don't mix those two together. Yeah, wow. Holler that time by a 2 flat, 159 for Bensey and a 158 for Gavin Sanders.
Yeah,
so
wow.
Watson with a 2 flat too, but he was slightly faster than Watson, and he's starting to kind of reel him in so slowly here as we're about halfway through the second stint.
So I'm going back and thinking about Formula Indy Series. Did Gavin win this race in Formula Indy Series? I'm trying to think. Logan won. I'm talking about Paxa, won a race, but I think that was Montreal that he won, and then Gavin swept like the other races other than Logan's race. I think that was Montreal that he won. So Gavin knows how to get around here in this setup. Isidro out here with these. We're spreading out a little bit here, so let's get some camera time on some other cars.
Gavin
here.
on the pole, and Gavin with the winner, and then Logan finished second in that race.
Yeah. So Isidro, he's on these red tires. His last lap is a 2-minute 1.6. Christian Jasper about 2.5 seconds back from there. He's still on the black tires. Most of our drivers, again, they're going to opt for doing the red stint on the final one. Dakota DeMade, our championship leader in P7. I think Dakota did the math, okay? And I think all he had to do is finish 8th or better, and it almost confirms that like he has the championship in the bag. But
hey, there's nothing wrong with doing the math.
Yes. Here's Pete Donchak here in P8. So Pete was telling me that sometimes he listens to the broadcast while he's driving. So if Pete's listening to the broadcast right now while he's driving, he might bobble right now. We will see what happens. He's in the Wawa car.
The jinx, the announcer jinx.
So interesting thing. This is for you, Gary. I spotted it last night because I had to broadcast that race. He doesn't drive the Wawa car in Formula Indy. He runs the Lola MasterCard car. Do you know that one?
The what now?
It's
Lola?
the Lola MasterCard car.
Yeah, vaguely.
Okay, so Lola entered Formula One in about 1996 or 1997.
Yeah.
They showed up for the first race. I don't recall who their drivers were, but they were awfully slow. They were about 10 seconds off the pace. So they made it one race and then they closed up shop. And that exploration of the Lola MasterCard. So it's kind of one of these bust teams that there were quite a few of those in the 90s.
Oh gosh, well yeah, even think about it, even all the IndyCar teams that have done the same,
Yeah.
stuck around for
But yeah, Lola MasterCard. So he's running. Pete is confident in himself to say that he's kind of a little bit of a back marker.
Ooh, there is some debris in the chicane. I'm not sure how it got there. It is not belonging to the leaders, though.
Interesting. But yeah, Pete opting to take that livery because he kind of sees himself as a back marker. And so his team over in FIS is Team MCL, so that's MasterCard Lola. So there you go for next week. Gary.
Oh, okay. I was like, I thought I was like the old folk cafeteria.
You see, that's what I thought too. That's what I thought too. That's exactly what I thought. And then I started looking at it. It was MasterCard Lola, and then he told me and he confirmed the MCL meant MasterCard Lola. So that's for you next week. He does have a teammate over there. It's Kyle DeMarc. Is his teammate. So Kyle's a little bit too fast for that car, though, and that's what Pete was telling me. Anyway, that's enough about that. We've got Simkowski back in P9. Hayden Herman, he's running the Fawn and Fanny livery here.
And he's up 3 spots, having a great race.
Did have an early pit, so I think he's running the 3-stopper.
This is his first time running this course, he says.
Yeah, he purchased it just for tonight. I would assume this course will come back to the Formula Indy Series at some point in time, too. We ran it last season, didn't run it this season, but I think we'll run it at some point.
And I saw today, iRacing tweeted a picture of the Hungaroring.
Yes, they did. I think that might be coming with a new build in a few weeks. They've also announced there's a couple Australian supercar tracks that are coming to the service at some point in time.
It'd be awesome if while they're at it, if they're going to give us some Australian tracks, give us Calder Park.
Or the Gold Coast.
Gold Coast. I mean, Calder Park is is basically their version of Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Oh, okay. There you go.
So new oval.
Regarding Gold Coast, where the IndyCars used to run, that course has changed. They've shortened it from what the IndyCars used to run when kart and...
I was so frustrated with that course. IndyCar Racing 1 and 2, it's just like, straight chicane, straight chicane, straight chicane, turn chicane.
You have to imagine though, Gary, the graphics are so bad back then that it's really hard to see anything and understand what you're actually looking at in that game.
And to think about that, they were pretty cutting edge.
Yeah. Another one that I would love to see, and I think they still run it over in the supercars, it was a Formula One track. It's Adelaide. It's a street course.
Oh yeah.
Somebody built it over in the R Factor game. It had these gigantic curbs. I don't know how realistic that was or anything. But man, it was. I love the street courses. So
that is my fear with this upcoming IndyCar game. That iRacing is going to no longer pay attention to IndyCar on the surface because the IndyCar game will be the official game of IndyCar.
Yeah.
And one of the things I do like about iRacing is that I could put an IndyCar. Why I would want to do this, I don't know why, but I could put an IndyCar on Darlington if I want to, or I could put a stock car at Spa if I want to. With the official IndyCar game, it's like, well, you could only have the official IndyCar tracks and the tracks on the current schedule. I can't even have any historical tracks or anything like that. I'm hoping iRacing doesn't forget about IndyCar when this game comes out, because that's one of the things I like about iRacing and the IndyCar is just the amount of options and the different types of flavors that you can mix and match.
Here's my thought about it. We don't know what kind of game that's going to be, whether it's going to be like, say, NASCAR Heat, which is sort of an arcade type game.
Oh, I will go. Never mind. I will not be happy if that becomes like that.
Whoa! James Watson just did a drift through the final chicane. But with what my thought is that
but he's now P3 is he's moved around. Holler is pitting now. Holler is
finally got rid of these tires. Yeah. Last lap, well, that was his in lap, was a 2:05. But my opinion, Gary, is that the IndyCar game will be a gateway drug to the sim racing world for anybody. You had some like they might call it a simcade, is like mixing the simulator plus arcade word, simcade game.
Yep.
So it's not quite a simulator. That's what like the Codemasters F1 games are. They're not simulators. But that's what got I think a lot of people take that route. They start with the F1 game. They want something more. Julian, for example, did this. Then he gets iRacing for the real simulator experience. So that's where I see, I'm going to use the word. The game for PlayStation is for the normies, and the simulator for the hardcore fan that really wants to drive the IndyCar. In their office, and they have the $2,000 rigs that we have with the wheels and all that stuff. That's what this game will still be there for that.
Well, I guess everyone needs a jumping on point. So
yeah, that's exactly what it is. For instance, Formula One game right now, even the new version that was released as Gavin Sanders comes into the pits, does not have VR support. So
I don't know if I could drive it then.
Exactly. It's insane to not have VR support. Caleb also in the pits. So I think
speaking of different types of driving, I showed this to you earlier for folks that are listening at home. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 is going to have a airplane racing as one of its modes that you can use. And of course, remember Red Bull sponsors a airplane racing league, and they came to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway pre-pandemic and race there. In fact, these guys would land on the backstretch. They're really tiny,
Boulevard.
super fast. Yeah, they would race on the. That's right. They would land on the backstretch of the road course right there.
Yes.
They're really, really tiny, but they could land in like a really small spot, and they had these super overpowered engines. But yeah, that'd be really cool to actually get some multiplayer air racing with Microsoft Flight Sim 2020.
I did go 1 year to that. It was a year where it was super cold because that thing was on about the first week of October. Usually that is okay in Indiana, but it was super cold, and I had the great idea. I thought, it's going to warm up today, so I didn't even have a jacket. I just had a long sleeve shirt. So it was not... I enjoyed it, but it was not the most fun experience. So just FYI, James Watson has taken the lead. I don't know if this is officially a lead lap, though, for the points. He probably wants to get a lap lead for the points.
Well, he is on his 12th lap. He did 13 last time. He might be able to do 13 this time.
Sanders and Bensi are out of the pits. The gap has... gotten larger between them. It's about 6 seconds, so unless a mistake happens on these red tires between these drivers, I don't think there's much going to happen up there, but we'll keep an eye on it.
Gavin is just tearing into James Watson's lead. It was 5.8 just 2 turns ago. It's now 5 flat.
Yeah, so he's got to be careful, though. No reason to push. You don't want to ruin these red tires. And let me get back to James here.
Yeah, he's coming into the main. He's coming to the last chicane right now. He's going to see if he stays out. He is going straight forward. Will he have enough of a lead that he can actually get the official lap lead?
Yeah. Makes me nervous when he came through there. So close to that wall. Yeah, so Gavin back into the lead. Puller in the final chicane.
Holder's probably going to get the position here.
Yeah, it's going to be a drag race, though.
Looks like James is going to be on the alts, down and away. 9 point.
So Holler
was he in the
got
box
him
there? He was 11 on the stop. So I'm not sure why that went long for him. In fact, that's the longest stop. No, that was a 10.4 in the box, but still, that was a pretty long one.
Usually you don't, like everybody just about other than Gavin's has been, he's, for me anyway, it shows as a 9.7. Everybody else is in about the 10.
9.7 in the box, 33.9 on
those are long stops, though. I think they're getting all the fuel in these cars.
Well, I mean, if Gavin is just putting enough fuel in there to get you to the end, that's all you need.
Well, let's give a broadcast break for our title sponsor of the series here, Schaeffer's Oil, and we'll let them do a quick side-by-side here.
There's two types of drivers out there. Drivers who know how to protect their investment and drivers who don't. Car owners who know how to get more miles per gallon and owners who don't. We're talking people who know their Schaeffer and people who don't. Which one are you? From cars to trucks to diesel workhorses, whatever you drive, there's a Schaeffer synthetic oil for you. Do you know your Schaeffer? Ask for it at an automotive retailer near you.
All right, we are back. That is Schaeffer's Oil, our title sponsor of the series. You can pick them up. Go to schaeffersoil.com. You can type in your zip code and find out where you can go purchase a Schaeffer's Oil. But you want to have that discussion about the IndyCar game on air there, Gary?
Well, yeah, I was saying that I was kind of hoping that they would make the IndyCar game available for modders to actually go in and pick it apart. I mean, one of the things that the IndyCar Racing 1 and 2 game did with Papyrus and later Sierra Online is they locked it for the most part, but there's some people that just kind of forced their way in and made things happen. And that opened the door for different car sets. Then they were able to change the configuration of the cars so you could have cars that looked like, at the time, the actual 97 IRL chassis. They would change the sound, so they actually sound like the 97 cars. Then they actually had a tire track converter, and they just added a whole bunch to that game. Otherwise, the game just kind of would have ended at bleh, because all you had were 95 cars in the 95 schedule, and how many times can you run that? So I'm just kind of hoping that the new game allows for some modding, so we can have a track editor, so we can have do a triple crown, like an old school triple crown, like Ontario and Pocono and Indy or something like that, or even bringing on older tracks that no longer exist anymore, like Trenton and Riverside and places like that we can build. Other than, I just don't want to run on St. Pete, Toronto, Mid Ohio, and Road America all the time.
Schedule at the you're right. But I'll just say one thing about that, Gary, and I was talking over you for a moment, but who really wants to have the car sound like 1997?
I don't, but that's what they at least changed the cars back then to make it sound like that. That was kind of cool, but
for our viewers, what I'm talking about there is in 1995. 1996, the Indy cars had turbocharged V8 engines, and then in the 97 switch, they changed over
to naturally aspirated, no turbos, and they really sounded not too different than what a car sounded like. Yeah,
exactly. So that's why I'm saying. Gavin had this did you see a moment? Were you looking at Gavin? He almost drove off the Kemmel Straight. On the straightaway. So I don't know if he's got a cat or something that jumped on the desk. But I don't know or that was just lag or something like that. Anyway, he is still in the lead. Neil Lusher is coming up to be lapped. But yeah, going back to that, we need more information about that and who's developing it and what engine. So if it is based on R-Factor is highly moddable. The entire point of R-Factor was to be moddable. And if it's that, then you're in good hands, and they can import, even illegally, any track that's ever been made before has been made over in R-Factor. I've seen tracks that were made in R-Factor have been converted over to Assetto Corsa, all these other games. So I would think it would be highly moddable. But that goes back to the question: is it based on going to be built by the people that do the R-Factor? Is it going to be more? If it is that, then it's more of a simulator game. But if it's made by the guys making NASCAR Heat, then it's an arcade racer. So it remains to be seen.
I don't want to Kart Fury,
Yeah.
If anyone remembers that.
You know that even the Tony Stewart SRX League, even that has a game, but it is it's pretty arcadey. And I can tell, I watched a video, the tracks, like, they sort of look like the tracks, but they drive nothing like the tracks, because it was Lucas Oil, and I think they were driving the low line around there, so, yeah, it wasn't very accurate.
Actually, I was thinking about getting it because I saw a lot of videos on it. But,
I'll send you one from Lucas Oil. But yeah, that series, I didn't really watch much of it, but I think it's perfect. I'm talking about SRX here, or the Tony Stewart stock car thing. I think it's like the perfect racing entertainment series. Like, I heard people like joking about, Tony Stewart in 1 year made a car that was more exciting than with all this money that NASCAR has. Spend it on these next gen cars or whatever, that he went in there and made a car with like limited budget and made it really exciting. So we'll see where that comes from, or where that goes here in the coming years.
I mean, they even got a TV contract. I think about CBS.
Yeah, I don't.
Sports.
Well, I don't even have a TV package to begin with, so. But CBS Sports is always was one of the more difficult to get. I don't even know what's going on with NBC Sports is going away. IndyCar is going to be on a mix of NBC and Peacock.
USA.
Oh,
yeah.
And USA. Yeah, that's another station.
So you will be sharing screen time with WWE Raw.
With reruns of Burn Notice?
There's an interesting
so that's why I said
an interesting crossover of genres, and they can have they want to promote the next up and coming edition of WWE Raw. You can have like the world champion in the booth, as a guest.
Can have Will Power making his WWE debut. I think he'd be up for that totally. He was talking about fighting the UFC or something recently, I thought, or fighting other drivers UFC style.
Actually, I do remember 1 year WWE came to Indianapolis, and it was right around race time, and they had some racers. They typically always had like local sports people they would grab in the front row, and then they would throw the camera on them. And I forget who. I might have been Tony Kanaan was one of them, and I'm pretty sure Carpenter was another. I have to go back and maybe find that episode. But yeah, they had a couple 3-4 drivers in the front row. And they put the camera on it and gave them names, and the crowd's like, "Oh, okay, IndyCar drivers are here," and then they quickly disappeared after that.
We had Kyle Mundell in that Forsyth livery had a Spinola out of the final chicane. That was where we were talking about early in the race. So everybody just about is on red tires, and that's where the wear happens, where it gets really icy, and that was one of our spins.
Well, yeah, but Holler is back onto the prime, so he should here in about let's see, what lap is he on in his stint? He's on lap 6 of the current stint. So the guys in front of him, Sanders and Bincy, are on lap 5, so they should definitely start falling off. He should start reeling them in.
Yeah, it's a lot to reel in, though. But
a lot to reel in with 5 to go.
If
yeah,
one of them spins, though, then it could be something. So
yeah, 5 to go.
Actually, as Gavin goes across the start-finish line,
4 to go.
It's 4 to go. Have had a few cars exit the race here. That is Conor Baldwin, Angela Espo, Joseph Tessera, Ludus Woodall, and Chris Albee out of the race.
So looking at the point situation, Bincy's going to make a little room on both Watson and DeMay there. He's probably going to actually he might pass Watson, because there's like a big difference in points between first, second, third, fourth, and fifth right through there, and then he starts becoming.
I think Watson might hold it, but it's going to be by like 5 points.
Yeah.
I think second place gives 40, third place gives 30, and then Caleb has the pole. What do you think on the most laps led? I think Gavin at this point has the most laps led.
It's going to be really close, I think.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be around 5 points is what my guess is.
Still, I mean, the Turbo Series champion. Great season.
That's right.
Very, very consistent.
That's right. Hey, I didn't notice this before, but on Christian's car, I think he has a Spratty Motorsports on the wheel ramp, and actually on the front wing as well. That's Tony's team there, so I think that's his logo. I got to look at it quite a bit yesterday.
That logo reminds me of the old Adventure Team G.I. Joe logo that the 12-inch G.I. Joe would have as like a medallion hanging around his neck. Back in the X, kind of reminds me of that, the old Adventure Team.
Well, a good run here by Jasper.
Very quiet, but very consistent.
Yeah, he had a tough race when the Formula Indy came here. I know he took a penalty in that race that he, was served in the next race, but he's had some good runs this season. Finally, I don't want to jinx him. Got 3 laps to go, but he's getting.
We have proven that a lot can happen in 3 laps here.
Yes, he can. Yeah, especially being on the red tire.
Being on the red tire right in the final chicane.
Yeah,
he's going to do that 2 more times. Isidro up to 5th. Great run from absolutely dead last.
Watson seems to be catching Polar.
Well, let's take a look here.
Brought it down to under 2 seconds.
Because Watson is on those red tires, and
yes,
he has been on them for, well,
this is a crossover point.
This is lap 6, so depending on how he's treated them before. Oh, wow.
Yeah, he really used all of the track there.
NASCAR exit of the corner.
Yeah, he didn't. I don't think he lifted very much, though.
No, I don't think he did.
That definitely. So it used to be really easy to get an incident point for getting an off track there, but that was definitely.
So yeah, I'm looking at the count, the off track count right now, and if Gavin, if the race mattered according to your off track count, he would have this race dominated. 46. 34 is Conor Baldwin next, but he was high. He's kind of leveled off. Bency and Haller are both at 26.
That might include practice, though, because I thought we had an incident limit here. So, I don't know. Maybe they changed it for this race.
He is reeling him in.
Yes, he is.
He's working it. And he's lost a little contact, but he's not giving up.
That lead by Gavin, though, is just increasing. It's 10 seconds now.
Gavin last time by him 159.7. Bency 159.8. Haller 159.2.
Yeah, he's a little bit quicker.
159.3. Still that purple lap, a 157.3 set by Gavin.
So next week we'll be back. Final race of the season for Gateway. Tomorrow night we're going to be here in the Daredevil Series at Laguna Seca. I believe that's where we're running.
Yep, Laguna Seca, Corkscrew, big points battle there. I got Alex Vanasant, that's the current points leader. But there's still about 3 or 4 guys that have a shot there. And then we go off to Gateway with everybody else for championship Wednesday and Thursday next week.
I think I'll be able to run the entire race this week because I don't have a BMW broadcast the next 2 weeks. We just finished that one up. Tomorrow I should be there. I wish I had practiced this more, but I've had a really busy week. We'll be having a Lionheart race after this one in about an hour. And even there I didn't get it. Yeah, even there I didn't get as much practice as I'd like. So,
hey, your team had a great showing at Chicagoland in the DW12.
Yes, we did. And you saw my fuel gamble running 180-mile-an-hour laps there at the end. I ran out of fuel at the line. I made it back to the pits, though, with the clutch in. It took like 3 minutes, but I made it. We're on the final lap, though.
Yeah, let's get up to the leader here. Gavin just up past Eau Rouge.
as somebody said in the chat, there's a joke about this, Gary. He said that's Radion, actually, because there's two corners there. There's Eau Rouge, and then there's Radion's like the exit. So, and sometimes people have difficulty identifying which is which, or they'll say one is the other.
Radion's after Eau Rouge.
Correct. Yeah. So it's but the figuring out like where the crossover point to the two corners is like this intense debate, and it's a bit of a meme. So that's where this comment came from. And actually, I think that I'm seeing that's actually Jake who said that in chat. I didn't realize Magma Carta is Jake. Sorry to out you, Jake, here publicly on the broadcast.
His secret identity is out.
Yes.
Just like Spider-Man. Speaking of the latest trailer, teaser.
What do you think?
I still to be seen. I don't know how Doc Ock is going to be. Is it Doc Ock from a previous universe? If you know what I mean, or is it Doc Ock and it's just the same actor? Who knows? But I'll be curious to see what's going on there. But good to see the Marvel movies kicking it back in. Here we come right down to the checker
Final
flag
chicane,
here through the chicane. Bringing her on home.
He was really getting it going there. We have Gavin Sanders winning here at Spa.
Congrats.
Well, he'll have experience for in a couple weeks. We're going to be running Spa and VOR, like we said. He had experience from as Caleb Bensey comes through in second place. Gavin gives us some
but that's just basically first in class right there. That's just as good for a win. Just based upon Gavin not being a regular competitor in the series, that is, and Gavin, of course, or Caleb, of course, is in the season-long championship. So basically, dual wins going on here.
James Watson's going to come through in P4. He already finished it off. I'm looking at Jasper now.
Job there.
Really long lap, so we've still got cars running. Jasper's actually going to bring it home in fifth. He gets around. I think Isidro had an issue or something because Jasper's in fifth. Top 5 for Jasper.
Nice run.
Yep. Even
Good,
he's up there in the
consistent run.
points. And quickly.
Well, typically they update them pretty quickly. So while you're doing the interviews, I'll check to see if the Sim Hub. What is going on there at Pit Road?
I see Gavin's already ready to go for his interview, but I gotta get this set up, so I'll be right back, and we'll get Gavin for that interview. All right, we're back. Let's get Gavin pulled on up here.
It was lots of fun.
It was lots of fun. Well, hey, Gavin, this is Matt and Gary up in the booth. Well, congratulations on your victory. You started, it was second, right? You had a really spirited battle with Caleb there. You passed him, and then you kind of pulled away. Ended up winning by 8 seconds, it looks like. Really good week for you, though, with that Road America victory over in VOR. Tough couple weeks in FIS, but we hope you rebound over there, too. But tell me about your race here.
It was all right. This track's a lot of fun, managing the tires and kind of managing the pace and everything. And you can, obviously, a big draft track. So once you break the draft of everybody else, it kind of opens up a bit, and you can kind of just cruise and run your own pace. So obviously that first stint was very a tight battle and lots of fun with the 3 cars all being there like that. Obviously Michael was just kind of sitting and watching us, probably hoping something was happening. But it was a good race. And then after obviously Caleb decided to let me by. I think he was just trying to save his tires or fuel or something. And then just took advantage of took advantage of it that way and built the gap. And typically how these races tend to go here.
Yeah, so at one point, I think after the first pit stop, I think, did you pit earlier and Caleb, or it was, no, it was reverse. Caleb pit, and then in the end, you came out and you were about 1.8 seconds back. So we thought maybe, you're just talking about the draft, that maybe that was just about the limit of the draft, but I think maybe he bobbled or something, and you were able to get back in that slipstream, and that's when you made the pass. So, it was good on you for pulling back up. Just slightly out of draft range, but able to get back up there. Well, you going to be here next week for Gateway, or are you going to pass on that one?
I think I will be, as far as I know. Gateway is not one of my stronger tracks, so we'll see. I tend to fall victim to being too aggressive with weight jacker there. So
yeah, we were talking about it early on in the broadcast about, even a driver that's really confident at Gateway, really, like, they can't take anything for granted. So it's a really tough track, because when somebody crashes there, it can take out a bunch of cars that or through no fault of their own. So that's just the nature of that track in iRacing. So, well, any shout outs, thank yous, sponsors, family, friends watching, that kind of thing?
Big shout out to Team VOR, Fat Bastard Burrito, Alpine Stars, Steel Sports, and all the other Team VOR sponsors.
Sounds good. Well, you got anything more there, Gary?
No, I'm sure this is very comforting for him after last couple rough weeks in FIS to get a dub underneath his belt here at Spa. So congrats, and I'm sure that all it just takes is one race, and opens those floodgates and getting the roll on. You got that first win in Vor, you got another one here, so I'm sure that this just gets the ball rolling for you. That's all.
Yeah, just build that confidence.
That's right. Well, we'll see you next week, and we'll see you over in FIS as well. VOR is off for a couple weeks now, so I won't see you there.
Right. Sounds good. We'll see you next week.
All right, take care. Okay, we will bring up Caleb here. Hey, Caleb, this is Matt and Gary up in the booth. You got the pole. I don't think you led a few laps, but I think Gavin got the most laps led. And, you finished second for the second day in a row, I think. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
So, I don't know if that's a good thing. I broadcast them both. We want to get you back in the front.
Now, let me say something. Before he's like, for me, 2 days in a row finishing second's great. Caleb's probably standing up on the podium like Senna used to be when he finished second. He's like pissed off.
Yeah, not great, not bad.
Well, I mean, you're first in class, so I mean, you capitalized on being the first winner of all the regular drivers, and that's in itself a win, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, sure.
He doesn't sound too convinced.
Yeah,
no, he doesn't. He does not.
I don't know. It was a good race and everything. We had a pretty good battle. I think probably looked fun and close at the beginning, but just towards the end of the run on the blacks, both runs, I just couldn't really hang on, or didn't really feel comfortable enough to push too hard, and that's where Gavin really had the advantage. So. And then by that, the last Redstone, I knew there was no point in pushing too hard, and just kind of ran a simple pace or just a gentle pace, and just try to be easy on the Reds. So, yeah, I mean,
what was the increase in heart rate when you and Gavin had a little bit of that moment coming into the chicane there? Right, I think it was right before the first round.
Yeah. Yeah. So we did it one time, pretty clean. I didn't really expect him to go to the outside of that, and I kind of overshot a little bit, and I don't know, I think he might have too, but
I think there's a little bit of both. Yeah.
I didn't know if it was maybe a defensive overshoot on his part, just to make sure that there was no contact between you two, but through that first round of pit stops, you came out, and I think you were like 1.8 seconds ahead of him, but somehow he was able to eat into that, and then he got around you through that. tough to defend.
I was trying. So the first stint, I thought the blacks would be a little more stable, but I feel like I wore them out pretty hard really early, trying to get a gap, which I did right at the start. Like, I mean, not a big one, but I got a bit of a gap, and then that kind of closed up. So I was trying to be a little more conservative, and then it worked. Like, the tires weren't as bad, but I just didn't have the pace. So try to be a little different there, I guess, with how I handle the tires. But either way, it was either going to be too slow and then be comfortable, or be fast and then probably spin it. So yeah, it just was hard to find the balance, I guess.
Well, either way, like Gary was saying, second place is still pretty good. Second stay of the podium. Any final, family, friends, sponsors, shout outs, that kind of thing? You did have some fans in the chat again here tonight. So you can give them any shout outs you want.
Well, I think I have an idea of who that'd be. So shout out to grandparents and parents and any other family or friends are watching. And obviously thanks to you guys, Race First, for putting on a great podcast as always. And again, FunandFanny.com. If you haven't checked them out yet, you definitely should. Just see what they got. So yeah, thanks to everyone who turned out. And again, just pretty content with another podium. So never a bad day when you get a podium.
That's right. Well, in regards to Fawn and Fanny, we also had Hayden out there. And we had him on the camera a little bit too. So good run by him. I think his first race at Spa here. So, he's going to learn from that one, and he'll have plenty more races, I'm sure. So
yeah, he had a great run going. Just very little practice beforehand. So despite that, did really well, but just hit the DQ limit with like 2 to go. So
did he?
Yeah. Right at top 10 before that, but just a bit unlucky.
Wow. Okay. Well, we'll see you next week in FIS. It's going to be in Laguna. Here we're going to be in the Reddit series. I need to stop calling it that at some point because we're getting a rename. But we're going to be a Gateway.
Yep.
So I don't know your thoughts going there. I think we talked about it a little bit previously, though.
Yeah, it's a tough track, but if you get into a rhythm, which is hard to do, but if you get into a rhythm, it can be fun. So we'll see.
All right. Well, we'll see you then, and take care till then.
Yeah, thanks, guys. See ya.
Yep.
So Caleb led 14 laps, so 21 laps was the most by Gavin. Watson did not lead a lap.
Oh, okay.
He led a portion of a lap, but he did not lead a complete lap. The incident numbers we were looking at least in my overlay, were combined numbers.
I'm seeing incident limits now.
Mundell and Herman at 20, but Gavin and Caleb both had 12 and 11 respectively. Holler had 8, which is really good, all things considered. I'm looking also down there. Zimkowski only had 1.
So that's pretty clean.
Pretty good.
Let me bring up Holler, though, and see what his thoughts are. Hey, Michael, this is Matt and Gary up in the booth. Got a copy?
Copy.
Well, you were kind of third this entire race. You had a pretty good view of that battle. I had to imagine that you were just kind of hoping that there might be a mistake or a bobble between those two cars. But tell us about your race.
Yeah, I was able to keep up in the draft. I don't think I had the pace to be out front, but I was able to hold it up there. And then in my strategy, I had a couple like opportunistic passing opportunities. I didn't take them. I knew that I needed to sort of stay up front and behind the leaders the whole race if I had a chance at getting even probably second. So just making sure to keep my nose clean and it was a good race. Watson was catching up to me at the end. He was doing he ran blacks or reds opposite to me. He started on blacks, and then I went red black. He went black red, and I was really curious to see how fast he'd close. But he held it about 2 seconds, which was right where I wanted him. It was a good time. I was putting in hard laps to keep him behind. Yeah,
we kind of knew because Gary this setup we kind of knew from another series, and we knew that the red tires kind of had this cliff on a lap 5 that although you might be able to maintain a speed, it just got incredibly difficult to maintain that speed on the reds. So it was good. I had a feeling that you were going to go and try to be a different strategy than Caleb and Gavin, just to take a gamble on that, see if it worked. It seemed like black black red was, the option that they took, and that was maybe the better option. But you got to try something where you're at, and you were third before it and third after it, so it was nothing to lose there.
Yeah, it's still a podium, and I'm definitely happy with that. What was I going to say? The stop, switching to reds. I hit the fallout. I think it fell off. I think at lap 7 or 8. I did not do long run testing, so I had heard it was a little bit bad, but yeah, it was pretty bad. I also didn't do any the fuel saving that the guys up front was doing. I was just trying to run a clean race with an even pace, and feel like I did a good job with that. Pretty happy.
Well, sounds good. So next week we're going to be at Gateway. You have much experience at the Worldwide Technology Raceway, or is that going to be a new one for you?
Yeah, so I did. I love it in the Indy Pro Series. When we've done it, we actually have it coming, which is this week. So I'll be running it then. I also ran it with the IndyCar iRacing series last Sunday, and I did pretty well with that. I had a pretty pleased with my finish. I can't remember specifically where I finished. Maybe it was third or fourth. It was a good time though. It's a great track. It's a lot of grooves and lines, and I need to get better at pit entry before the start of that race. It's all about pit entry there. Tell me about it.
I think everybody knows about that. That runs IndyCars and has driven that pit lane. Actually, both pit entry and exit can be quite tricky.
Little treacherous.
Yeah.
But I'm excited.
What the tricky thing can be is if you spin out on that pit entry, does the caution come out? I don't know if it still does or not. So
I assume we'll find out.
Yes, we will.
See.
Somebody will do it at some point in time. But hey, Michael, any final shout-outs, sponsors, that kind of thing? I know you have a sponsor on the side of this car, custom paint that you made, and you can talk about them if you'd like.
Yeah, for sure. First of all, I'd like to thank my fiance for supporting me through this. It's been a good time. And then also like to thank the Citizens Climate Lobby for all the work we're doing. I volunteer as well, and some particularly interesting things to help the environment out coming up in the reconciliation package in Congress right now. So I'm working towards helping make that happen in the small way that I can. And if others want to, feel free to reach out.
Sounds good. Well, we will see you next week at Gateway, and until then, have a good one.
Thanks, you guys too.
Thanks. All right.
So we got to do points out actually. Dakota still has the lead. He has a 61 point advantage over James Watson.
That's championship right there, is what that is.
410 to 349. Caleb Bency, 68 points to Caleb Bency. Haller, 133. Isidro is in P5, 154 back. So just by your quick math, you're saying championship?
Yeah, it's 50 points. Unless they're running a different point system that I'm not aware of. But it's 50 points for a win.
That's what I thought, yeah.
So, and then plus the bonus points, that kind of stuff. Anyway, let's go through our final results. We've got Gavin Sanders winning the championship. Caleb Bency, P2. Michael Holler, P3. James Watson, P4. Christian Jasper, P5. Nicholas Isidro, P6. Dakota DeMade, P7. Alex Simkowski, P8, Pete Donchak, P9, Kresge, P10, Lusher comes through in P11, Mundell, Herman, sounds like we had some incident limits coming there. Jonathan Libertor
tough track.
Had some fans. Yeah, this is like one of the worst for incident limits.
Yeah,
Conor Baldwin. Going back, we've got Espo, DeCiro, Woodall, and Albee, and I do see Dakota messaging me. I think he might want an interview because he's won the championship and he wants it early this week. Maybe he doesn't want to. Do you want to? Let's bring him up then. If he wants to take his championship interview right now, because he was going to be driving in the pits though. Let me mess with this here. Like I'm talking about him, like my little replay here. There we go. Now we got him on the screen. Dakota DeMade.
Yes.
Might be the champion.
I've already calculated it.
Yes, that's what I thought. Like,
points are up. I have done it. I am the champion.
He's popping champagne already. A little bit of the bubbly tonight.
I'm gonna put the milk face on the stream. Is
No,
that
no,
okay?
that's not.
Don't worry, I don't have it loaded up. I have Greg Ray though. I can put up here. There we go. We got Greg Ray now.
So at least next week, I mean, you should at least run the 0-1. You can't run the 1, but run the 0-1 next week, just because you can.
Okay, I think I will.
So you and Caleb will be the 1 and the 0-1.
We'll have to. Well, you know what? I'm an admin of the series, so I can change that for you, Dakota. Wink, wink.
All right. Thank you.
So we don't even have to talk to Kresge about it. But yeah, congratulations on your championship here. So you finally knocked off. You prevented Caleb from getting kind of the
repeat.
The three-peat. I don't know if that'd be a hat trick or anything like that, but probably not.
Got a hat trick, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, tell us about your season. Christian Jasper is saying, put the milk up. So I think that's to the broadcaster. I'm going to hold off on that one.
It was a good season. It started off really well at Homestead, where I was able to take that win, and I just tried to.
That's a key to any good championship, is getting off on that really, really fast start. And you did with that win there.
Absolutely, and then another second at Pocono, and just tried to pull away as much as I could. And I had some doubts after Dover and Iowa. Like Caleb's good. You can't ever count him out. So, I'm happy to get it now. I don't have to worry about it at Gateway, and it's a big weight off my chest. To be able to win a championship like this. So,
well, it's a weight off your chest for now, but in a couple months you're going to have to defend.
That's true. And then if Gavin and Isaac run full time and Alex comes back, then that's when it really gets. That's when it's going to be
How
good.
about defending? I'm gonna do spoiler alert here at iRacing Super Speedway. How's the defending going to happen there?
That's just gonna be complete chaos, and you just kind of go guns blazing and see what happens. So, that's on the schedule next season. So I think that's fine to spoil it, but I think that'll be a fun race to look forward to.
Maybe there's a difference between.
Depends on how many people complain.
Yeah, there's also.
Can I do in-car color commentary?
I don't see why not. Well,
hey, I do have one serious question for you, Dakota. What is the one improvement that you have made to yourself or to your driving style that brought you this championship this season that you can think of?
I think it's just clean races. Just try not to get in too many wrecks. Kind of play it safe, and then qualifying was also really important at some of these tracks, just to kind of get those bonus points and to get a head start above those crashes. Like Indy, for instance, I was able to just avoid all that just because I was up front. So that was definitely a key there, is to just qualify well and try to get away from all the messes in the back. So yeah.
Hey, well, Voltic Pistol is on sale this week. Do you want to talk about that any?
First, shout out to James Watson for the Voltic Pistol paint.
There's two types of
Voltic Pistol is a 2D side-scroller medieval cyberpunk game that is on sale on Steam right now. You can buy that right now for $2.49.
Championship edition.
It's championship edition, and it's a fun game that I spent about 5 years working on part-time. So it's also one of the greatest achievements that I've been able to put on my own game. So it means a lot to me if you guys were to check it out as well. And you guys can also check out Echo Blade, that's coming out soon in November. And I got updates on Twitter for that if you want to follow me at Sunset Arctic. So yeah.
I think one of the other paths to the championship was the meal routine. Would you like to talk any about that meal routine that you had for the season?
I don't know about that. That just all it did was make me gain weight. So. Usually I pick up fast food before a race just because I'm short on time. So but not today. Today I had leftovers, so
There you
Yeah.
go.
Economical.
Well, that's
Probably why I
why
didn't win.
I think that's one of the reasons that we run the FIS races an hour later is because then you don't have to have fast food for those races.
I
Whereas
still do.
you still do. Well, there's at least
because
the
he's-
option.
That's single life living right there.
Yes.
Hey, you want to give a shout out to Jake?
Yeah, shout out to Jake. I don't know. I don't think he's watching right now.
He
anyway,
did say
but-
something. He said that's Radion actually.
All
in the
right, that's
chat.
good. Shout out to Jake. He was there for most of the season, and he's a good friend. And shout out to Lucas and Alyssa. They watch sometimes as well. So, yeah, they're
Sounds
good friends.
good. Well, we'll talk later, but next week we're going to be Gateway, and you'll have more championship discussions there as well. And maybe you'll take the win in the final race and just go for it.
I don't think so. Both times we've raced here, I've crashed. So. That's why I'm happy to clinch the championship early because I don't think I'll survive Gateway again.
It's really just like a random thing at Gateway, but I think you should just try to go for it.
Oh yeah, I'll go.
Yeah, just go for it. I think you're pretty good at the short ovals. You had that race over in VOR where you won Milwaukee as well. So I think you might claim to not like them as much, or I don't know. Am I making stuff up? But yeah, they can be a struggle for sure.
Yeah. I'm not usually a fan of short ovals, but some success there. But
yeah,
we'll see. Who knows? Every week is something new. So
yeah. All right. Well, you take care, Dakota, and we'll talk to you,
thank you guys.
later.
All right. See ya.
Yep.
See, I'm like him. I don't feel like I have good results, or at least I feel I do well on shorter ovals, but the results come back and say otherwise. I mean, my highest finishing average is Gateway and Phoenix. So I don't know what to say about those two because I hate them, but every time I'm there, I do well on them. So I think a lot of that has to do with just building up a rhythm and sticking to it, and then there's also a little bit of luck.
Yeah, there's I'm going off the rails now, but like Iowa over in VOR raced a whole lot differently than what you just said, Phoenix and Gateway. You can kind of count on Phoenix and Gateway having a lot of caution. And that Iowa race that we had in VOR recently did not. It had like one caution, right? Maybe two?
Two cautions,
Yes.
one early, one late.
Yeah, so it was not that caution-filled race that we came to expect, and I don't know. I certainly didn't get a good finish there. I kind of feel because I was involved in an early incident and drove around with no side pod for half the race. So yeah,
maximum cooling.
Yes, maximum cooling. Not good on the straightaways. Anyway, that's it for us here tonight. We've crowned a new championship. Caleb will be running the number one last time for a little while next week, and we'll see him then. Dakota DeMade is going to be our new champion going forward after that into the December winter season. So everybody take care. We'll be back. We'll be back for Daredevil series tomorrow night. We already discussed that for Laguna, and back here for FIS on Tuesday at Laguna as well. And then here in the Reddit League at Gateway, and then it's Gateway for Daredevil final too, right?
It's championship week next week, and Alex Van de Sant leads. West Shire is in second, about 40 behind. So really, if Alex has a really good race here, and at Laguna Seca, which is funny, he says it's not one of my better tracks. I think he's sandbagging us, but if he kind of comes out of the same situation like Dakota did tonight, we might be going to both series, might be going to Gateway with the championship already decided, but we'll see. We got at least two guys in it over there on the Daredevil Turbo Series. Join us tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel here on Raceverse, and we will go at it at Laguna Seca on the PM18s.
All right, sounds good. Over and out here from Raceverse. Take care, guys.
Good night.
Ever since I've switched to Schaeffer's oil, I've never had a reason to even try anything else. And that's one thing that I'm proud about is the fact that I can't tell you how good something else is because I know how good Schaeffer's oil is. My engine builders, Tony and Glenn Clements, have said about the oil we run. They've told us that out of all the motors that they get and rebuild every year, ours looks the best, and a lot of that has to do with the oil that we run. One of the things that I love about Schaeffer's Oil is the fact that all of their reps are out in the field and at the racetracks with us, seeing what all the racers need, seeing what ideas we have or anything that we can improve on. And you just can't beat the customer service of having a rep for, you know, one of the main components of our race team, whether it's at our engine oil, transmission fluid, rear end oil, having somebody there that represents that brand and also gives us some support and also the knowledge that we need to be making the right calls and just helping us out with our entire racing program. It means a lot to our race team to have that. My name's Chris Ferguson and I drive the number 22 dirt late model. I've been using Schaeffer's Oil racing products since 2009. I absolutely have no doubt that we're using the best products that is possible for dirt late model racing.